as far as your severe thunderstorm warnings are concerned. High top, Skyline, Stevenson, up through Dutton and Hollywood in Alabama. Be careful and try to stay out of the elements. Meigs County, severe thunderstorm warning as well, rolling until 6:30 this morning. So in and around Meigs County, be careful. We're also getting information from the Birchwood area, torrential rainfall in that area. So be careful in Birchwood. It is 6 o'clock, straight up. You are watching WDEF TV 12 here in Chattanooga. Rainfall amounts continuing to rack up, and the more rainfall we get, the more runoff problems that we have. And these amounts that you're seeing here are continually getting updated. Pikeville closing in on 3 inches of rainfall now, closing in on 3 inches in South Pittsburgh. You will both surpass that 3-inch mark within the next 30 to 45 minutes, and it may not take that long. That's the kind of situation that we are dealing with here this morning. Again, the power outages, they are extensive. Our friends at EPB are working as hard and as quickly as possible to make sure that you get your power back on. You can go to the EPB website, or if you have the EPB app, let them know you're without power. But I'm telling you, they've got a better handle on it than we do. But look at how many folks are now without power. This is topping 14,000 customers. Think about that for a moment. 14,000 customers without power. They're working on it as hard as they can. They've got 12 active repair incidents underway. Let me go back here and show you what's happening on our primary weather computer indicating the cloud cover and the radar. This is showing a little bit of weakening, but I want to put the emphasis on little. From, let's say, north of Decatur in Meigs County. Heading over to Madisonville, you're still seeing some pretty good thunderstorm activity, but if you go from Decatur in the opposite direction, down towards Bradley County or over towards Pikeville in Bledsoe County, you're going to be looking at this heavy storm activity continuing. This rolls all the way down through Chattanooga into Marion County, and those of you in Walker County and Whitfield counties, you're going to be seeing this coming up here in your neighborhood over the next few minutes. Lightning, yep, we've got a bunch of that. Thousands and thousands of lightning strikes have been reported, and this is just over the past 30 to 40 minutes. That's not counting everything we saw late last night and much earlier this morning. So be careful on that. Now, if you're heading down I-75, a lot of folks are heading towards work down in Dalton. You will need extra travel time and extra braking distance without doubt. You should allow yourself about 50% minimum extra travel time on top of what your commute ordinarily is. Here's a shot of that camera we were talking about a moment ago. It's the Patriot Concrete camera, veteran-owned and operated, right on top of our building here on South Broad Street with the vivid display of lightning. We're also looking at some pretty extensive winds here in the metro Chattanooga area, where we are under the severe thunderstorm warning until 6:30 this morning. 67 degrees right now, 93% humidity, and just about everywhere east of the Mississippi River, heading over into north central Georgia and into the Piedmont of North Carolina. Got some pretty strong activity popping up. Alerts, you bet, and they cover the entire severe weather gambit. Severe thunderstorm watches, severe thunderstorm warnings as well. And the warnings have been given a bit longer of a shelf life than what is typically done, but at least they are being allowed to expire a little bit earlier as well. We saw that a lot last night with Chief Meteorologist Austin Onek. I mean a lot. So the severe thunderstorm warnings do continue here in Chattanooga, in the surrounding area. You are looking at a big thunderstorm warning in Ray County in East Tennessee, as well as northern Bradley County. Northern Bradley County. Remember, when you see this, any kind of warning like this that involves rain, thunder, and lightning, remain alert for possible tornadoes. As we have seen just over the past few hours, not to mention the past 3 days, these tornadoes can develop quickly from severe thunderstorms. If you think one is even approaching the building you're in, find a safe spot in that building, preferably one that's on the interior part of the building with no windows. Bathrooms, get in the bathtub. That's always better than being exposed to a building that's got a ton of windows, which you would ordinarily enjoy. Debris can go flying through those windows a lot quicker than you think and cause extensive injuries. If you have a basement, that'd be even better. A small central room in a sturdy structure. And when you see these storms popping up, let me go back to the computer and I'll finish that thought here in a moment. Let's head back to that particular computer. When you see this kind of situation, prepare yourself for large hail. Prepare yourself for damaging winds. If you happen to be outside for whatever reason, get in as quickly as possible. And also, as we have seen during the past several hours, torrential rainfall is occurring with these storms, and this will lead to flash flooding. And don't ever, ever drive through standing water. Now, we do have a tornado watch that will remain in effect until 11 o'clock this morning for pretty much everywhere in East Tennessee. Again, tornado watch remaining in effect until 11 this morning for just about everywhere in East Tennessee. Ray County, Bradley County, parts of Hamilton County. We've got Meigs, McMinn counties also being affected by this, as are Monroe County and Polk County. Travel a little further east up towards Knoxville, same story there. The tornado watch remains in effect until 11 o'clock for those affected areas that you see there on your screen that are shaded in the tan colors. Now, how long is this going to last? Well, the actual severe threat as far as the watches are concerned are set to expire at 11. I think they'll probably be a little bit early in letting those expire. They've also issued Tornado Watch number 215 until 10 o'clock this morning for those of you into Cullman County, Alabama. Not so much affecting our northeastern counties. It is, but to a lesser extent. That includes Jackson, DeKalb, and Marshall counties. And in Tennessee, you're looking at Franklin County, Lincoln County, and Moore County being impacted by these watches. Here in Chattanooga, the flash flood warning is going to run for a while. This will end a little bit after 9 o'clock if they don't let it expire prior to that. This will affect not just Hamilton County, but you're also looking at Bledsoe County, Marion County, Meigs County, Ray County, and Sequatchie County. So if you're anywhere close to Pikeville, Chattanooga, Jasper, South Pittsburgh, Dayton, Spring City, Dunlap, this does impact you and your forecast for the morning. A little bit later on into the afternoon, things are going to be looking quite a bit nicer. Let me hop back and show you some updated rainfall totals, and these numbers are continuing to rack up. We'll have that fully updated coming up here in just a few minutes. Over 5 inches in Dalton, 4.5 inches in Dunlap. At last report, you've already topped 2.5 inches down in Calhoun, and you are topped over 3 inches in South Pittsburgh and Pikeville. Looking at about 4 inches of rain, actually about 4.5 inches of rain throughout parts of Ellijay. So be careful down in Gilmer County because this is impacting you as well. 6:30 is when the severe thunderstorm warnings are expected to expire. And here in Bradley County, we are looking at the same time frame. 6:30 this morning, severe thunderstorm warning for you. Be careful. Cleveland, Athens, Charleston, those affected areas as well. Hamilton County, our warning is set to expire at 6:30. And keep in mind, these can be expired prematurely. They can also be extended to beyond the posted time. Catoosa County, 6:45, so you've got another 15 minutes tacked onto you. We'll revisit that for just a moment. Athens, all throughout McMinn County, you're set to expire at 6:30. In Bradley County, you're also set to expire at 6:30. as we are here in Hamilton County, although the heaviest of this is now heading in areas to the east. And just up, tornado warning here in Hamilton County, and this will go until 6:45. Now, haven't seen any active tornadic signatures yet, but it does look like we have got that right here. See this affected area in the flashing box? Tornado warning until 6:45 this morning. Heavy winds, big hail amounts. Picture a golf ball. That's been on the smaller end of the scale as far as hail reports. Baseball size hail has been reported, even golf ball size hail. I'm sorry, even softball size hail. So be careful, use caution everywhere in the viewing area. Jackson County, Alabama, you're looking at this continuing for about another 20 minutes. Same story on down towards Skyline and into Scottsboro, Alabama. Shiloh, heavy rains for you down there. Henniger, you're also looking at some pretty heavy rainfall just to your west and northwest. Severe thunderstorm warning again in Bradley County going until 6:30 this morning. Let me see if I can pull up some other information that you may find helpful as you're making your plans for the day. We are looking at some possible tornadic signatures. Again, this is not definite. Tornadoes, it's not definite until it's confirmed by the National Weather Service, but we are seeing some indications of that possibly occurring here in the city itself. What's been happening over the past hour? Look at how quickly this has been approaching us. We have seen some obviously pretty impressive rainfall totals, and we'll continue to see that for at least the next couple of hours. Your severe thunderstorm warning in Bradley County should expire here in about 20 minutes. Again, that'll run for about 20 minutes. Here in Hamilton County, we are under a severe thunderstorm warning. I inadvertently popped up the wrong one just a moment ago, but we are in a tornado warning here in Hamilton County. This is a time you need to head to those safe shelters that we have been talking about. All right, and do that now, right now. Head to your safe shelter. Bradley County also appears to be under a tornado warning for the next few minutes, and you can see just to the north of this box, this area shaded in purple here. Yes, you are definitely looking at some intense thunderstorm activity, and that will spark off some sporadic tornadoes. We didn't see a lot of the energy lost over this, not a lot of wind shear to help knock out the upper level winds that frequently can do damage to a tornado. As a matter of fact, quite the opposite happened. We have seen a kind of an uptick, if you will. A lot of power outages down in Athens, so be careful in McMinn County. Be very careful in McMinn County and in Bradley County. We'll shorten this time frame to just go back for the next 15 minutes, and you can tell anywhere you are in the viewing area, especially right here in Rocky Face, Georgia, you are under a severe thunderstorm warning as well. Trees down in the Reed Pond Road area and in Poplar Springs. You're looking at a very similar situation in Tuttle Hill, and we have had reports of a vehicle overturned at Utility Road and Miracle Drive in Rocky Face. Again, vehicle overturned, filled with water in the Rocky Face area. Hail, even though you're not under the official watch box at the Tibbs Bridge Road area, yeah, you've got some hail down there in the neighborhood of an inch, along with some trees damaged, or trees down rather, across the roads. So be careful. We're going to pull this box out here for just a moment and show you what has been happening where, and more importantly, how much further, how much longer do we have to go on this? It does look like Catoosa County, your thunderstorm warning has been allowed to extend itself until 6:45 this morning. So you're looking at a little over half an hour, although I do think some of these will be allowed to expire a little prematurely. We'll see. Again, down towards Tilton in North Georgia, not far off South Dixie Highway. You've got a report of a tree down there as well as other storm damage. Same story in Rocky Face. Again, this is at the Reed Pond Road area. And a tree down also at Reed Pond Road and Henderson Drive Northwest. Flash flooding in Rocky Face. Again, this vehicle overturned and is filled with water. So avoid these areas if at all possible. Into North Georgia, into Dade County we go. Cooper Heights, you have got some pretty intense storms down there as well. Hail reported north of an inch in Rising Fawn. Cooper Heights, lots of hail there. And this is heading back over into North Alabama. So be careful anywhere in our viewing area. You've got the severe thunderstorm warning in Jackson County rolling until 6:30 this morning. And that's for those of us here in the Eastern time zone. Central, it expires at 5:30, so you've got another 15 minutes. But the severe thunderstorm warning and the tornado warnings in and around the Chattanooga area are going to go until about 6:45. In Bradley County, you have got not just a tornado warning, you're also looking, not just a severe thunderstorm warning, but a tornado warning. And this is continued up into McMinn County as well. So Bradley, McMinn, and Polk counties, you are looking at the severe thunderstorm warning. I'm sorry, I misinformed you. It is a severe thunderstorm warning that you were under until 7:15. Didn't mean to cause you any undue cause for alarm. Be careful. You have to do exactly that in these situations. Get to that safe area that you were in. Your building, you know where the centralmost room is located. You know where the best protection is. This is the time to go there and do it now. All right. Otherwise, we're going to see this driving rainfall continuing throughout North Alabama, throughout North Georgia, and throughout southeast Tennessee for the next several hours. Right here, though, tornado warning in Bradley County, and I believe this is a severe thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning. This will roll until 6:45 this morning. Cleveland getting absolutely hammered at this hour. We have seen absolute nightmares out on the roadways, and we are going to see this very intense situation continuing for a while. Again, we're looking at the severe thunderstorm warning, 2 tornado warnings that should expire in about 10 to 15 minutes, and that's a little bit ahead of schedule. Catoosa County, your warnings will roll until 6:30, and in parts of Dade County and Walker County, you'll go about another 15 minutes beyond that. High winds, damaging rains, driving rains, and some pretty big hail also being reported in a good part of the area. Golf ball size hail in Rising Fawn reported just a little bit ago. We have seen hail about a half an inch down towards Ider in Alabama. So be careful in those areas. I know it's tempting to go outside and try to find where the source of this activity is coming from. Stay inside. Stay safe and stay with us right here. Severe thunderstorm warning in Jackson County. Again, you're going with this until the bottom of the hour. Actually, this will expire here in about, 12 minutes or so. That does not mean the dangers will pass. That simply means the formalized warning times will have been met. Just to the south of Skyline, Alabama, damage to a business roof, doors, and some pretty intense sign damage as well. I know we had some of this at the unclaimed baggage area just outside of Scottsboro, and you are still looking at some pretty heavy driving rains on that. Again, this is in the Scottsboro, Alabama area. Damages to the roof of unclaimed baggage, as well as a few other businesses surrounding that area. Our Nick Hill is down there, and we will check back in with him coming up in just a few minutes. Meanwhile, as we have a look at some other information to pass along, it does appear that we will see the storms continuing on the strong side for the next several hours, but they will be ending a little bit later on this afternoon. Let me repeat, the stronger storms at least will be ending a little bit later on this afternoon, and a much, much nicer day ahead for tomorrow. All right, let me switch computers here for just a moment. We are still under either a marginal or slight risk of strong to severe storms all throughout the area. You don't have to travel very far south of Chattanooga to get into that higher level of the slight risk. And beyond that, areas shaded in pink, Birmingham, Atlanta, and points south are all under that enhanced level. And once you reach that, there's only one or two other categories to go, and that's the moderate and high category. We were under that, the moderate category, for a while last night. It's not quite as bad this morning, but still, it's causing tornado watches. It's causing severe thunderstorm warnings in a good part of the area. Let's check in now with Amelia back at the desk.
Thank you, Chip, for the latest weather information. And we are continuing coverage all throughout this morning. We will keep you updated here first and foremost here on News 12. Continuing to say that overnight, at least 2 tornadoes had touched down in the Scottsboro-Henniker area in Alabama. If you want to look at some of these pictures that our viewers sent in, we're learning more about the situation and the amount of damage caused by that storm. So we will keep you updated as soon as we learn more. We have also talked to some first responders who say that they are still on the scene dealing with a lot of what is going on right now. If you can look at this picture right now of this tornado, you can definitely see all of the wind, all of that structure building up and truly making a scary image to look at. With the severe weather and multiple tornadoes hitting overnight, here's that picture that is sent from News 12 viewer Lee Gooslin of a tornado that did touch down in the Scottsboro, Alabama area. This picture was taken near unclaimed baggage, and as you can see, definitely a dark and scary sight to behold. Chip will have continued weather coverage coming up in just a few minutes. If you want to take a look at another picture that we have sent in, here's another picture of storm damage from the Scottsboro, Alabama area as well. This picture is taken by Carrie McCreary, if we can see that other picture that was sent in from a viewer. This picture that if you're currently looking at is from our viewer, Lee Gooslin. Thank you, Lee, for sending that in, and I know that that is a scary situation. Remember to stay safe, go to a safe place if at all possible, and please go somewhere down in a basement or in a cellar if possible. Look at this power outage picture from EPB. As you can see, many people are without power, and this is just going to continue to happen as it gets rougher in our area. At least 14,000 customers are without power in the EPB viewing area. And as you can see, a lot of people are going to be struggling with this all throughout the morning. We're hoping that that does come on soon, and EPB crews are on the scene trying to get your power back as best as they possibly can. Please give them time to do that. And I know that they have been working all morning to get that taken care of and overnight as well. Please, you can also check the EPB website for the latest weather information and their updates from power outages as well. We will continue to have information on that coming up in just a few moments. Let's take a look at what is making school news this morning. A number of schools have been delayed by 2 hours or are going to be closed due to severe weather, and this will update throughout the day. We're waiting to hear official updates and statements from the directors of schools. On a delay for 2 hours so far includes Hamilton County and at this time DeKalb County and Jackson County in Alabama. They are also delayed by 2 hours. Marion County will also be delayed by 3 hours. Ray County is closed today. Just in as well, Skyuka Hall is also under a 2-hour delay. For a full list of these delays and closings, you can come to our website at WDEF.com. Stay here, stay with us, stay posted, and we will keep you safe and keep you informed the best that we possibly can. Let's check back in with Chip Chapman for another look at the forecast.
All right, Amelia, here we go. Again, some incredibly high, and I mean incredibly high rainfall amounts. Almost 4.5 inches in Lafayette, over 5 inches in Dalton. And it's not just Dalton. There are other areas of Whitfield County that have been absolutely soaked. You're over 3 inches in Pikeville. You're at 3 inches in South Pittsburgh, and you're closing in on 2.5 inches up into the Madisonville area. What we're going to see as we head through the next several hours is these periods or these pockets of rain continuing. And we are still looking at some watches and some warnings all throughout the area. This is a, no pun intended, very fluid situation, so make sure and keep it here We'll keep you posted. In the Chattanooga area, we are looking at some pretty strong driving rainfall amounts. We're also looking into the Blue Spring, Georgia area as having seen a couple of trees down in the 3500 block of Burning Bush Road. Again, 3500 block of Burning Bush Road. Keep that in mind. See these areas down here? Hail reported in Ida, Alabama, and a lot of it. We're also looking at additional hail reports in Rising Fawn. This is a golf ball size hail. Golf ball size hail throughout Rising Fawn. This will also encompass part of the Rock Springs area as well as Cooper Heights. Be careful. Again, golf ball size hail in these areas. We've talked about some of the severe thunderstorm damage that's happened in North Alabama. Trees down, power lines down, and this is primarily affecting a couple of businesses in Scottsboro as well as in Athens, Alabama. Not Athens, Georgia, but Athens, Alabama. Ida, you are looking at your severe thunderstorm warning that will continue for another little while. More than likely, this will pop out about, let's say 20 minutes from right now, if not a little bit sooner. Again, part of the encouraging news that we're looking at here is a number of these are severe thunderstorm warnings, not tornado warnings. That is a very, very positive sign. Hopefully, this is losing a little bit of its punch, at least, as it heads through the morning. Severe thunderstorm warning in Walker County. That'll roll for you until 6:45. In Ringgold, all throughout Catoosa County, same story. Yours will expire at 6:45. Into Dade County, you're also set to expire at 6:45 this morning. Again, nothing indicating tornadic signatures, although from Benton all the way down here as you cross into North Georgia, this increasingly is looking like a bow-shaped echo. That could indicate a potential tornado from Benton all the way down through the North Georgia mountains before terminating in Whitfield County. So be careful on that one. Your severe thunderstorm warning will go a little bit longer as a result. That will expire at 7:15, so you've got about a little less than an hour to go, some 50 odd minutes. In McMinn County, your thunderstorm warning will expire at 7:15 this morning. 7:15 this morning. Down towards Whitfield County, 6:45 is your expiration time. And again, as we have talked about forever now, just because your formal warning times may be expired does not mean the danger has left. There is still a tremendous amount of flooding out on the roadways thanks to this intense rainfall that's continuing. And down towards New Hope, same story for you. You are looking at some pretty hard driving rains, some high winds gusting north of 40 to 45 miles per hour. Be careful. DeKalb County, good morning to you in and around Jackson County and especially DeKalb County. Your severe thunderstorm warning will expire at 5:45 Central Time. 5:45 Central Time. Overall, it does appear that the general strength of this is slowly, and I mean slowly, dissipating. It doesn't look like we're going to see beyond the next, let's say 2 or 3 hours, anything approaching the severity of what we had last night or throughout the morning. Now, that could change. These systems could and frequently do rejuvenate themselves. But it looks like as this pushes far enough towards the east, you'll get a little bit of a lift from the mountains, and that should help cause a little bit of shear. It should help weaken the storm just a little bit over towards Blue Ridge and McKaysville. Be careful in those areas. Ida, Alabama, same story for you. We've talked about what's been happening in Ringgold, Fort Oglethorpe, and other areas into North Georgia. Your flash flood watch will continue until much later this morning, but the really threat of your active weather should expire within the next 30 to 45 minutes. Bradley County, you're one of the exceptions to this. You will expire at 7:15 this morning as far as the severe thunderstorms are concerned. But they do seem to be moving east at a pretty good clip, so those warnings could be allowed to expire a little bit prior to that. Thunder, yes. Tremendous amounts of rain, yes. Lightning, you bet, and a lot of it. We have seen thousands of lightning strikes since this really got fired up around 8 or 9 o'clock last night all across the area. And part of the reason that we have seen so much rainfall is you'll notice this moisture just basically training over the same geographic area from west to east. And I mean a ton of it. Not only have we seen the rain, we have seen the hail, we have seen the watches and the warnings. We've covered just about the entire gambit. Now, have a look at our other computer for just a moment, and you can tell the watches have been allowed to expand, but these are the watches. And I gotta think that these will probably, since they are just watches, which means the conditions are favorable, will be allowed to expire a little bit earlier. But those of you in Bledsoe County, eastern Hamilton County, Marion County, Meigs County, and Ray County, as well as Sequatchie County, you're going to have to be on the lookout for this flood warning that is in effect. You can tell these areas are flashing away. Flood warning in effect, and that'll run until 9:15 this morning. Just a little bit ago, Doppler radar indicated some pretty strong storms impacting these areas with another 1 to 2 inches of rainfall on top of what you've already received. That means flash flooding is continuing. And if it hasn't started flash flooding in your particular area, it soon will. Very little doubt on that. All right, power outages. Yes, we have seen a bunch of those, and that number hopefully will start to begin to drop if we could access that information from our friends at the EPB Fiber Optics Weather Network. Those folks are working to beat the band to make sure your power is turned back on. All right, let's take a look at the number of power outages that we have here in our area. Might be kind of hard for you to see this. We're looking at over 14,000 people being without power in the EPB service area. 14,000 people being without power. They have got a ton of repairs that are in progress right now. They're aware of where the power outages are, and they've got extra crews that are out working to make sure that everyone gets their power turned on as quickly and as safely as possible. And that's yet another reason for you to stay off the roads, because if you're in the roads and you break down, the EPB fiber optics power trucks can't get past you safely. As a result, we have got a lot of school closings and a lot of school delays. With more on that, here's my partner, Amelia.
For all that you are doing here this morning. And as you can see, we do have continued conditions all throughout the area. Chip will have even more updates coming up in just a moment. And we've had pictures sent in from the News 12 viewers as well, showing just how bad these conditions are. We'll take a look at those in just a moment. Now let's look at what schools are going to be out this morning or possibly on delays. Number of schools have been delayed by 2 hours or are going to be closed to the severe weather. Look at this picture from our viewer, Lee Goslin. This picture was taken out of Scottsboro area, and as you can see, the conditions, the wind, the cycle, everything about this, very tornadic, very scary in nature. We are hoping that everyone in that area is going to be very, very safe as much as you possibly can. Take a look at this other picture from our viewer, taken from Carrie McCreary out in Scottsboro, Alabama area as well. If you were able to snap any pictures, we would love to see them to make sure that everyone is safe and how we are properly providing the proper coverage for you at this time. A lot of people are going to be without power. A lot of people are going to be probably scared at this time, and we are trying to give you as much calmness as possible. Take a look at this EPB camera, EPB number of how many people are out in the area. It's already risen to 15,000 customers, and numbers are going to be continuing to rise as conditions are getting even crazier and scarier at this time. For a live update of what it looks like out in the Alabama area, here's Nick Hill.
Good morning, Amelia. I am here in Scottsboro, Alabama. Of course, you're hearing me through a phone because it is raining, so we weren't able to still alive outside. But just to give you an idea of what it's like here, the line, it has moved through the Scottsboro area. The rain is still raining, but the wind has definitely subsided. In terms of damage in the Scottsboro area, mostly a lot of leaves, a lot of branches around the unclaimed baggage area and some of the adjacent businesses. Some sightings seem to be blown off. I did talk to one lady not too long ago who said that at some point last night she was attempting to get to work and smelled a gas leak and was not able to get to her place of work because of a downed tree in portions of Scottsboro. But it seems like the worst damage here in northeastern Alabama is up on Sand Mountain and Henniger, and that is where we are going to go once this line of storms passes this area. That area was under a tornado emergency last night, and as far as we understand, there are rescue operations ongoing in Henniger. At least they have been ongoing throughout the evening or the overnight hours, and I understand that we have been in contact with their police department. We will have many more updates here from northeastern Alabama throughout the day. I'm Nick Hill, live from Scottsboro.
Thank you for that update, Nick. Nick has been at Scottsboro since 5 a.m. this morning, and he's staying safe as much as possible, but also providing you with the needed coverage of that area. We're going to take a look at some school news this morning. Number of schools have been delayed by 2 hours or going to be even delayed all day, canceled today due to severe weather. Take a look at this. A 2-hour delay schools include Hamilton County. That could be subject to change depending on how bad conditions get. And at this time, DeKalb County and Jackson County in Alabama are also delayed by 2 hours. Marion County will be delayed by 3 hours. Ray County schools are closed today. And also, Skyuka Hall is under a 2-hour delay. For a full list of delays and closings, you can go to our website at WDEF.com. Those closings will be available on our website at WDEF.com. We'll provide you with updates as soon as we hear more. Also looking at some more severe weather and tornadoes looking through our area. Let's take a picture of these photos that have been sent in once again. This picture is from viewer from Scottsboro, Alabama, a picture taken by Carrie McCreary. Thank you for sending us, Carrie. And also Lee Goslin took this picture in the Scottsboro area as well. This is just a prime example of what this tornadic activity is going to be looking like passing through these areas. Looks like Chattanooga is not under a tornado warning anymore. Chip will have another look at that and coming up in just a moment. Tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings passing through many of our areas, but hopefully those will lift soon in the next 30 minutes to an hour. And also parts of Bradley County and Cleveland were getting hit pretty hard just a few moments ago. We'll have a look at that in just a moment. But looking at this picture from Lee Goslin out of News 12 viewing area, down in Scottsboro area, we will have the latest updates from that as well. Let's look at EPB again for another look at those power outages. As you can see, the numbers just keep on climbing. It looks like we're getting closer and closer to higher numbers, almost about the same as 12,000 up to 13,000 as well. As you can see, those numbers are going to be taken care of as much as humanly possible. EPB is on the scene. They've been on the scene all morning trying to get people their power back, and they are doing the best they humanly possibly can. And we're hoping that we can get you your power back as well if you are having difficulties in any of these areas. We'll have extended updates all throughout the morning. Let's check back in with Chip for another look at the forecast.
All right, Amelia, we are looking at a obviously very, very busy morning in the radar imagery world, but at least we're seeing some degree of this weakening a little bit. Now, this is still affecting many of you throughout the North Alabama and North Georgia areas especially, and from parts of McMinn County all the way down through Bradley County and into Polk County, your storms are a little bit heavier. That's been expected, and that's exactly what's been happening. We're also looking at a pretty strong cell that's now passing right over the Alabama-Georgia line. The northern end of this, at least, is clipping part of the Trenton area, but down towards Lafayette, you are looking at some heavier storm activity. Now, let's focus eastward just a little bit, and you can tell. Check out McKaysville, Georgia, as well as Blue Ridge. You are looking at some definite bow-shaped echoes. No reported tornadoes in those areas yet being the operative word. It does look like that is a good possibility, though, for those of you over towards McKaysville and down into the Blue Ridge area. A lot of lightning associated with that particular storm cell as well. Look at how heavier the lightning strikes are compared to what we have here in Chattanooga or even back towards North Alabama. So what's exactly happening as far as the hail is concerned? We have seen some pretty good hail reports. A couple of these indicating some hail bigger than golf balls, and in a couple of areas even bigger than baseballs. That's right, bigger than baseballs. 1 inch hail at Tibbs Bridge Road and New Hope. You know where that is. And we're also looking at some hail damage in parts of the Cooper Heights area, as well as eastern Rising Fawn, northwest Rising Fawn. And that reported some golf ball size hail. Even bigger hail reported into parts of northwest, extreme northwest, Rising Fawn, and into Ider, Alabama. So keep that in mind. Now, as you're heading out the door in these affected areas, the system seems to be picking up a little bit of speed the further east it travels. Ducktown, you're going to be looking at some pretty strong storms on the way here in just the next few minutes. And as we broaden this out a bit, it looks like those of you into Blue Ridge will be experiencing the same thing also, and that's coming up here in just the next few minutes. From northern Georgia into Eton, heading over into Ducktown, McKaysville, and Copper Hill, the heaviest of this will happen for you shortly after 7 o'clock, most likely between 7 and 7:15. In Lafayette, you are looking at some stronger storms as well, but by and large, we are beginning to see those slowly weakening. Again, frequently, a lot of times, these systems will lose a lot of the energy once we lose the daytime heat. That didn't happen. In fact, just the opposite occurred. Combine that with the fact we haven't seen any wind shear to help knock the tops off of these storm clouds some. That is also turned into a pretty dramatic problem. Now, we are going to be seeing some flood watches and some flood warnings for the next several hours, but overall, the news is good in much of the area as far as the weakening of these stronger storms. And there are a few areas that are the exception to the rule on this, but thankfully, for the majority of the area, we are looking at the storms slowly showing signs of weakening. We're getting rid of these pink and purple colors here, as well as some of the numerous bow echoes that we have seen popping up over the past several hours. However, down into this particular area of North Georgia, vehicle overturned and filled with water. This is at Utility Road and Miracle Drive in Rocky Face. Stay out of that area. Let the rescue workers and the EMS do their job. We're also looking at some trees down South Dixie Highway and Corporate Drive. And a little further to the east, you've got not only some down trees, down power lines, but you've got hail topping 1 inch. This is at the Tibbs Bridge Road area where it runs into New Hope Road down in Whitfield County. I think the biggest point of concern right now, there are two areas, one down here into southern Dade County, seeing a little bit of purple popping up as this system crosses over from the Ider and Sylvania areas in Alabama. That, and obviously what's happening over into the McKaysville area. Blue Ridge, you are looking at some of this being kind of problematic, and we're going to have to deal with this for about the next, let's say 30 to 40 minutes, and then this will be heading over into the mountains of western North Carolina. Cherokee and Clay counties, you'll be getting this next. So use extreme, and I do mean extreme caution. Again, nothing to convince us that there's any tornadic damage over the past 3 or 4 hours other than what we have been talking about into North Alabama. Primarily, this is around the Ider, Alabama area, down towards Scottsboro and over into Athens, Alabama. That's been about the only exception to that, and hopefully that too will soon pass. So we've got all that to talk about, and we've got, again, the very active radar imagery that's going to continue to stay that way for the next 2 or 3 hours. But beyond that, it does look markedly better. We should be seeing, maybe as crazy as it sounds with what's going on this morning, a few peaks of sunshine for the afternoon. That should not in any way rejuvenate these storms like frequently happens. And what we're looking at now, as far as the latest 15 to 20 minutes of radar imagery, see how the system in North Georgia in between Trenton and Summerville is kind of broadening out a little bit? That's good. It means the leading edge of this is not as strong as it was. Yes, it's still packing a punch, but not as strong as it was. Couple of new rainfall total amounts here I wanted to point out. You're now closing in on 5.5 inches down in Dalton. This is not exclusive to Dalton. This does include Rocky Face and several of the surrounding areas. It's over 4.5 inches now in Lafayette. It's getting closer to 2.5 inches here in the metro Chattanooga area. And Ellijay, where we've talked about you're getting ready to see even more additional rainfall, your amounts will easily top the 5-inch mark by the time the system gets out of the area. How is this problematic? Aside from the obvious one out on the roadways, it does cause additional tree damage. And once those trees get damaged with standing water like this, they will fall over in a hurry, invariably over power lines or onto cars and into homes also. Again, as we have been talking about for hours now, know where your safe location is in your home. Get there as soon as you possibly can in these harder hit areas. Wanted to broaden this out a little bit and then zoom in just a touch and show you what we were talking about as far as this getting a little bit weaker as it travels from west to east. It is heading down towards the south and east of us. Heading down towards Atlanta this morning's not a good idea. But overall, this is showing gradual signs, but consistent signs of weakening. And this is going to help out in the situation regarding flash flooding. Remember, obviously, the quicker this system moves, it's kind of a double-edged sword. The quicker it moves, generally speaking, the harder the impact, but the less rainfall you have to deal with out of this. So that is going to be something that merits a big, big point of concern over the next, let's say, hour to hour and a half. Let me switch computers here and show you some lightning, and boy, have we seen that. And if you'll notice, or if you've been paying attention with us, we've talked about how this moisture is training from west to east, basically. Yeah, it varies a little bit, but we are training from west to east. Now, even though the heavier the rainfall is now crossing through Walker and southern Dade counties, and you're looking at this really heavy towards McKaysville and Blue Ridge, the lightning that we have seen is phenomenal out of this. Thousands and thousands of lightning strikes just over the past 3 or 4 hours. And that's not counting what we had with Chief Meteorologist Austin Onek late last night. That lightning even more intensive, and it was accompanying the heaviest of the rainfall, as you might expect. So we're going to have to deal with this for a while. It doesn't look like we are seeing any sort of significant re-strengthening of these storms, and that also is good news. Now, yeah, there will be some pockets of heavier storm activity as we head through the morning, but by and large, the overall edge of this is showing a little bit of signs of weakening. That will help. It does look like we could easily pick up, at least in North Georgia and North Alabama, in the neighborhood of another inch, maybe an inch and a half of rain, which will obviously complicate things for those of you all throughout Dade County, Walker County, Catoosa County, Whitfield County, and to a lesser extent, Gordon County. But again, your travel plans for the morning, not only do we have standing water out on the roadways, we're also looking at a lot, and I do mean a lot, of hydroplaning out on the roads. I'll try and pull up a camera or two here and let you take a look at that if you'll bear with me for just one moment. But I do think what we're going to see is, as we head through the next, 2 hours or so, a general overall weakening of what has been a very damaging, a very dangerous, and in at least one case, a very deadly storm situation. We are getting into that time of year where these storms do pop up. And we will keep you posted on that right here online at WDEF.com and live on the air. Let me show you what's happening Lee Point and Highway 153 right now. Visibility has gotten a little bit better, and the winds have stopped driving the rain so far, or so hard, just like it was a few moments ago. And boy, was it hitting it. Have a look now, I-75 at the I-24 junction as we go back to our primary computer here. Thankfully, the traffic flows a little bit less than normal. That's because the schools have been delayed, and in some cases, they have been totally canceled for the year. We have all of that on our website at WDEF.com. So I-75 at I-24, in the top right-hand portion of your screen, you can see one of the T-Dot portable signs indicating there is some perhaps danger ahead, but overall, this situation could be a lot worse. Highway 27 at Manufacturers Road, this is one of the big traveled areas when schools are in session or not on a time delay. However, because we are on a time delay or in some cases canceled, not as bad here on 27 at Manufacturers Road. So what about ML King Boulevard? Yeah, a little bit heavier traffic flow there, and people are continuing to kind of get out there and push it as far as the speed is concerned. But if you look carefully, you can tell there is some hydroplaning, a lot of water getting thrown onto other vehicles. We will talk more time-saver traffic coming up here in just a few minutes. Right now, let's head back to the desk. Here is Amelia.
Thank you, Chip. And we're going to be taking more looks at that in just a few moments. Take a look at a little bit farther out from our viewing area. Tornado from yesterday in Clarksville, Tennessee. If you can see this, some pretty scary skies, darker clouds up there. And most of northern Tennessee was hit with life-threatening flooding, thunderstorms, and tornadoes. And as you can see here, it almost looks like something out of a movie. Look at these lights really coming in with that lightning, as well as thunder and heavy rains, heavy winds in this area as well. This is going to be something that I'm sure a lot of us will be seeing here in the station as well. We can certainly hear it. Please stay safe, as well as when on roadways. Chip already mentioned, use about 50% more driving time, braking distance, as much as you possibly can on these roadways. Be safe. If you're looking at this coverage as well, you can see something completely sweeping through this area. It looks like a very stormy system gathering and collecting this viewing area as well. Look at that system completely swirling through. Now we're going to take a look at what is out at a school in our area. Take a look at this. A number of schools have been delayed by 2 hours or are going to be closed throughout the whole day for severe weather. So far, a delay for 2 hours includes Hamilton County, and at this time, DeKalb County and Jackson County and Alabama are also both delayed by 2 hours. Marion County will also be delayed for 3 hours, and Ray County schools will be closed today. You can also find a full list of delays and closings on our website at WDEF.com. We've also gotten way that Whitfield County schools will be closed as well. We will have the latest updates on our website as well. You can find that, refresh your page at our website at WDEF.com. Go to our website at WDEF.com. Taking a look at another picture that was sent in from our viewer, Christine Gibney in St. Elmo, closer to our area immediately at the station. She woke up to find that this tree has fallen onto her yard. Very scary sights that we're seeing after the aftermath of last night's storms and continuing into this morning, as many people are probably getting woken up or even starting their commutes early this morning. Like we said, if you wake up and you see any of the storm damage, EPB, many of these first responder crews will be going to take care of you as soon as they can. We're going to look at the EPB power outage cam right now and see just how many people are without power. Chip, do you want to take a look at just exactly what's going on right here?
Sure, I'd be happy to. As far as what the EPB folks are doing, they are staying on top of it magnificently. Can we pop back to the EPB outage map for just a moment? At one point, they had north of 14,000 people, almost 15,000 without customer. They have restored power for several hundred of you. Still over 14,000 without electricity this morning. They're getting to you as quickly and as safely as possible. Now, let me show you again some of these impressive rainfall totals. Topped 5.5 inches in Dalton, topped 4.5 inches in Lafayette, and you've still got more to go. Topped the 3-inch mark in Pikeville and topped the 2.5-inch mark in Madisonville. And as we switch to our radar here, I'll tell you, we still have some more rainfall to go. And we're probably looking at in the neighborhood of another 1 to 2 inches of rain where you see the darkest shadings of red. Now, even though it's getting fewer and further between down into North Alabama, we are still looking at a potentially dangerous situation in between Sylvania and Fort Payne. These areas, and you can tell that does encompass part of the Chattanooga area, under a flash flood warning. This will affect Bledsoe County, Hamilton, Marion, Meigs, Ray, and Sequatchie counties. However, the box on this, or the timing on this, has been reduced. It will expire at 9:15 instead of the original earlier time, which was later into the afternoon. Again, National Weather Service has issued flash flood warning for Bledsoe, Hamilton, Marion, Meigs, Ray, and for Sequatchie counties. Keep that in mind. And as you've heard us talking about, also roadway conditions and schools. That complete list is at WDEF.com. Back to what we were talking about as far as the radar showing a little bit of sign of weakening. In a good part of the area, you can tell there's not much going on here in the city right now. There's a possibility we'll see a few of these storms rejuvenating, getting a little bit more power. But hopefully this trend, this overall trend of weakening will continue. That will help us out tremendously. Biggest point of concern now is over off to the east around McKaysville, dropping into extreme eastern Eton, but on over into the Blue Ridge area. This will graze those of you into the Jasper, Georgia area as well. Now, this is moving, again, at a pretty good clip, which will reduce the overall amount of rainfall, but the intensity of it will be a bit higher. Let me say that again. The faster it moves, the intensity will be a little bit higher, but your rainfall damage will be a little bit lower, okay? Here in the Chattanooga area, we don't have a whole lot going on as far as warnings are concerned, and that is definitely some good news for us. But we are going to see these areas under a flood watch or a flood warning until 9:15 this morning. And again, over towards McKaysville and Blue Ridge, tremendous amounts of lightning. I'll try and bring you the lightning strike total as confirmed by the National Weather Service later on today at noon. But it is in the thousands and thousands of strikes. So be careful. You don't need to get any sort of lightning damage either, in addition to what we've already received. We're going to continue to be here throughout the morning monitoring this situation, but I did want to switch computers yet again and show you these areas that you see flashing here. You are under a flash flood warning, and this will run for another few hours. All right. Some of the locations impacted, obviously Blue Ridge, Dalton, on into parts of Ellijay. We're talking Rocky Face, Eton, Calhoun. Understand a lot of folks have been taking shelter at the Buc-ee's down in Calhoun. Fort Payne, just to the south of Fort Payne, you are going to see your problems continuing for the next few hours also. So we've got the rain, we've got the high winds, we've got the thunder, and we've got the lightning. We've pretty much got every potential component of severe weather that you can get in situations like this. All right, back to the radar sweeping right now out of High Top, Alabama. And you can tell a little bit of a bow echo now heading over into Blue Ridge, but there is nothing indicating that this has crossed over into the tornadic level. Nothing at all. That is also some very positive and very welcoming news for those of you into the McKaysville area. Blue Ridge, you're going to see a little heavier pop right out of this over the next few minutes. But again, it is showing marginal signs of weakening, and it is continuing to head off towards the east. And that's caused part of the problems with the higher rainfall amounts in North Georgia and into North Alabama, is because this moisture has been training over the same geographic area. It's going to continue to do that for a while, but at least here in town, it has showed signs of weakening, and that is going to help out, and it will help out tremendously. Now, a few of you into North Georgia and into North Alabama are still under the flash flood warnings, but those are set to expire coming up here within the next 30 minutes to 45 minutes, and I think they will be allowed to expire a little bit prior to that, okay? So that's good news. Let's kind of recap the radar and roll back an hour. You can tell the leading edge of this, it was very well structured, very well put together on the leading edge of this.